Yeah, footy fans, and welcome to Boothy's AFL Fantasy Podcast for 2018. This is number 2. Well, I've got the same notes as last time on the right-hand side, but what I've done now is I've amended the players after lengthy research on them all, and this is what I've come up with as of the 22nd of February 2018. So D1, I would suggest you either get Laird or Yo, and D2, either Lloyd, Chris, McDonald or Tui. On the right-hand side, it explains halfway down there that the bolded players played every game in 2017 for durability. You want a few of those. The player with an asterisk is a dual position at this point. It can change for round 6 and then during the year. And the ones in brackets are injury concerns a la as of the pre-season right now. So D4, McGrath, Ryan Clark, Maynard, Duggan, and Mills is under an injury cloud, but they're the options there, in my opinion. D5, a bit unknown, depending on who gets selected, but Hibbert from North Melbourne's looking pretty good. O'Shea, Caulfield from St Kilda, or O'Brien from Carlton, high draft pick as well. And D6 is the best 170 playing. At the moment, you might say Duday from Adelaide because of Lever. I've also got a suggestion on what you should spend in each area of the ground. So, for example, in defence, I suggest you spend between 3 and 3.2k, as you can see there. The midfield, I suggest you spend, according to my formula of players to choose from there on the list, 4.6 to 4.9 million. The rucks should be 1.5 to 1.6 million. And of course, the forwards are left similar to maybe slightly better, in my opinion, based on the players available, which should be 3.1 to 3.3. Now, if you take the average of those 4 areas of the ground, it actually adds up to 12.6 million. So you need to make sure each area averages out to that throughout your team. And then if you stick with one selection from each line according to my theory, or slightly different to my theory, then you should have yourself a pretty solid side. Now, looking at the midfielders then, you probably need to have one gun that can be a captain or whatever. So Tom Mitchell, these are the best ones in my opinion from last year. Tom Mitchell, because he's a gun, the number 1 man, but expensive. Kelly, because he's still young and improving all the time. Zach Merritt, similar reasons. And Adams, who was an absolute gun last year for Collingwood. And Treloar being under a slight cloud. I think Adams is the number 1 man there, in terms of dream team anyway. And Pendlebury's getting older, of course. And Sidebottom's more of an outside type player. M2, Matt Crouch I love. I'm biased. I'm a Crow supporter, but he's played every game and 33 disposals, and I can't see him getting any less than that, and he's only 22 years of age. McRae from the Bulldogs got some massive possessions late in the year, played every game, and is a good size, 189 centimetre type player. Rockcliffe from Port Adelaide, even though they've got the bye, he's my exception to that rule. He's the only exception unless you want to go down the Power Pepper path, which is a slight risk, but I think he could go places because of his centre clearance and tackle work. So if you want to go down the Power Pepper path, but don't put both of them in, only one, of course, because of the bye. Beams, although he's injury prone, is there because can get some big scores. M3, you might want to go Rockcliffe as well behind the others. Oliver from Melbourne, although he's a third-year player, averaged 100, but could get better. Bontempelli, because I love him and he could have an absolute breakout year, and he can do it at both ends of the ground sort of stuff. Shuey, because he had a fantastic 120, 150 in finals. Heppel, because he's averaged 110 in the latter part of last year, and he's probably one of the biggest players they've got in the midfield now with Watson retiring. And Lockie Neal, who went from 110 to 100 and still getting 27 to 30 disposals each week for Freo. M4, you've got Parker, Canelio coming off an injury, but had a great final series. Selwood, underpriced, still doing really well, and there's probably one player from Geelong who won't go up forward. He'll be in the midfield lots because Ablett and Danesfield will go on the forward line more than Selwood. So if Selwood's fit and firing and doesn't get tagged with the other blokes and doesn't go up forward, then he should get higher than 95. You know, he had some big games last year as well when he wasn't injured. And he also got a 1 last year, which means he's underpriced. Whitfield, I just had a funny feeling about Whitfield after his 6 or 7 games off last year. Finished the year with 24 disposal average, and I just think he's just ready to have another breakout year where he goes from 24 disposals up to 28 or 29. Stephen, who you could argue is underpriced at St Kilda, looking really good at the moment. M5 would be Steele up and coming, Blakely up and coming, and halfback +6 is 110 average potentially. Hunter from Bulldogs, who had a bad year for his standards, but still averaged 90, but could be 100. Redden from West Coast has got more opportunity, and Phillips from Collingwood, who in his first 2 years is on a trajectory. If you look at Matt Crouch's first 2 years compared to Phillips's, he's on a trajectory at Collingwood to go to 28 disposals from 21 and therefore be a 100 player this year. Got some big hundreds last year too, or a lot of hundreds I should say. Sheed from West Coast, more opportunities and more inside mid. And Dunstan at the end of last year was fantastic. M6, very hard to look past O'Meara, he's a gun. Armitage, if you want to go down that path, got 102 years ago, so want to play forward midfield. Bit of a risk. Hopper, speculation, had a good final series in GWS. Stretch, great summer, and we'll get an opportunity with Tyson going down at Melbourne. Power Pepper, if you want to risk the buy factor, but don't pick him with Rockcliffe, as I said to you. He's a lot cheaper, of course, but nowhere near as upside is not the same, but he could get 90. M7 is the best rookie guy that's playing, so I've got a few options there. And M8, you're not spending more than 170, 180, 190 maybe, unless it's up to you, but I would suggest that. And of course, on your bench, just spend the 170 on the best guy available. Rucks, I'm going Gorn, maybe Jacobs if you want for consistency and the sole ruck thing. Zach Smith, I've got a funny feeling about, and Curvis, sole man there. And Goldstein, after his off-field issues, has got himself right and is back interested. English, if you want dual position, a bit more money, or Frampton, if dual position, and Cameron, of course, is the next best thing with Tippett retiring. And the forward line, Menegola or Billings. Billings under a hamstring cloud. Heaney not playing tomorrow night in their game against GWS, not sure why, but we'll see what happens there, coming off probably a slow interruption. Dowhouse, don't be fooled. Dowhouse still has got between 25 and 28 disposals the last 3 or 4 years. McLean on the improve. Devon Smith at Essendon, who knows? Supposed to get more midfield time, we'll see. Parrish, third-year player, gun, could be a gun this year. Walters, more midfield time. Hewitt, well, with Hanbury out, and even Heaney under a bit of a cloud there at the moment. And Kennedy probably slowing down a little bit here and there. Hewitt might get more midfield time again. He's already a pretty good clearance player anyway. Daniel, I've got a funny feeling, fourth-year player, gets 21 disposals and could improve for the Bulldogs again this 4th year. Akers, similar. Robinson from Brisbane looks fit and firing and could get 90. Petraka's a gun, midfield time. Matheson could be anything with Rockcliffe leaving, but still young and only played 25 games. Stringer, yeah, it's up to you if you want. Rory Lobb if he's fit. Gresham, if you like him, played every game, but he's more of a forward at St Kilda, very talented. F5, Rayner, Christensen, Setterfield or Stevenson from Collingwood, with DeGoey and Wells being out probably for round 1. Stevenson could be a good chance to debut, so he could be a good option. And F6, just spend the 170 or up to 220. And I'm saying Venables or any of those West Coast guys at 170 in the forward line. Willie Rioli, pretty small forward. Waterman's 170 is more of a third lead up type forward. And of course, my pick is Venables, a midfield type player. So any of those 170s from West Coast get on board. They've got some gaps and they'll probably get a game. And Liam Ryan, if you want to go down that path, is a bit dearer. So there's all my rules that I've suggested before in the last podcast. Enjoy, guys. Good luck. And try and stick with the formula. And I reckon you'll have a pretty good side. Good luck.